Five, four, three.
Good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and always with me, my hetero life mate. How are you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
What is the Reel McCoy, you might ask? The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to go and watch a movie. You watch it, come back to us. We break it down, and we spin it on around for you on our comics spinner rack. We'll call it that. Today, we're finishing off the incredible March Madness that is called Nicolas Cage, with a fantastic movie that I just said to my partner here, Home My Feelings, that it is, if you look at the body of work of Nicolas Cage, Lord of War is really set apart as very, very different to everything that Nicolas Cage has done, because it has that element of narration. I didn't mention that before, but I'm mentioning it now. The fact that Nicolas Cage himself, as if he was Morgan Freeman, tells us the story of this movie as it unfolds. And it's very interesting. It's very different from any other movie that we've actually covered this month, and sort of any other movie that he's done. I don't remember him doing any narration on any movies. Do you guys remember?
I don't think so.
Not that I can recall.
All right. Cool. To help us out with all that Nicolas Cage goodness, we've got our friend, the Shagsworth, back in the house. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me back for one of my favorite movies. I think the first time I saw it was like right when it had come out, and I think I probably watched this movie at least once a year. So it was nice to make this my yearly watch party. Cool. And I can't wait to go through it with you guys. Thank you.
Awesome. What have you been doing these past couple of weeks or months since we had you on? I think the last time you were on, we were on American Beauty, right?
Yes.
So what have you been doing lately?
Just living life, trying to get my own life back in order a little bit, health wise. But I'm doing really well. I've been working on just getting my own content in order. We do the midweek hump every Wednesday, so we're still doing that. Do it a little bit earlier so I can get more sleep. I have my Ready Set Shag podcast where I sit down one-on-one with people and just kind of talk things out. I did a pretty good episode with Ethan Van Sciver a couple weeks ago, which was interesting.
Oh yeah, that was a doozy.
Yeah.
Real doozy.
And I've been reaching out to many other people that are, ideologically opposed to myself, that I don't see eye to eye with. So I'm trying to have more conversations like that. And then I'm working in a weekly show just completely by myself where I just talk about trending stuff, a lot of like what other people are doing, just be a little bit sillier, and also kind of give my opinion on stuff. Because I realize I don't really do that, because when you're in group settings, it's easier to kind of agree with others, but this way I can kind of just, what I'm talking about and my side of things. So,
All right, cool.
Yeah.
We'll say hello to the chat, all the lurkers, all the people, plus the lovely Sherry. How are you doing? All right, cool. Lord of War. Let's begin in the beginning with a little segment called Behind the Screens.
Sound production, take 2.
Behind the Screens is where we go to all my feelings and get the lowdown on everything that is behind the scenes, production-wise. Take it away, sir.
This one had a really weird ride overall. To start off with, it's a weird amalgamation of, depending on where you go, the budget is listed anywhere between $40 to $60 million.
Yeah, I saw 50 and I saw 75 and I saw 85.
Yeah, it's
Weird.
all over the
All
place.
over the place.
Overall, it did do 72.6 gross. So depending on what it is, it could have made money, could have not.
Yeah.
But overall, it was actually originally written as a spec script until Philippe Rouzelet came in, and he actually wanted to make it, but he wanted to make it the Goodfellas of arms dealing.
Wow, that's ambitious.
And if you think about it, in a way, there is a scene that actually mimics Goodfellas.
Which one?
When he's being followed by the helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. The like the ending one with the Ray Liotta when he was coked up. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I got you.
Yep.
I got you.
Now, what's funny is no studio in the United States would back the film initially.
Yeah, of course. Wait. Because the CIA globalists are not allowed to do... No, just kidding.
No, it was because when this is in pre-production, it was at the beginning of the Iraq War. And it was right after September 11th. And it's like, no, we can't do that. So most of the backing came from either Rouzelet himself. Like, he financially backed up a lot of it. And then, oddly enough, a lot of German markets.
Not surprising.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like European shenanigans when it comes to arms dealing, and literally they're playing both the Russian and American side kind of. Yeah.
There were many extras that were required for the film, obviously. But what's so funny is on certain locales, they actually only would have a minimum amount, so that it would be a very, very short and very, very small set. Like the scene where the guy is stacking all the bricks, the actual clay bricks on the road. It's just a scene with him, 10,000 and one extra that they brought in to do it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, due to regulations, it was actually cheaper for production to actually buy demanufactured and some still usable AK-47s than props.
Yeah, I saw that. Let me just preface this with all of the AK-47s were actually working stuff and got resold later on.
Oh, I did not know that one. Okay.
Yep.
Really? Resold.
Yeah.
So,
I know they bought something like 3,000.
yeah, and the scene where he walks with his uncle and you see all the AKs,
Yeah.
that's about 3,000 that you see. All of them were bought, then sold. All of them were active.
Well, apparently, Mr. Yuri Orlov was wrong. You can sell a used gun.
Yes, you can definitely can sell a used gun.
Yeah. So Niccol actually met, the director and writer, met with multiple arms dealers, including the one that got them the line of tanks.
Yes.
They were real tanks that were actually later purchased by NATO.
Yes. Not only that, they had to inform NATO that they're lining up these tanks, and in order, like, they had to inform them, because if NATO's drones would have like took a picture of them, it looks like they're taking them out to be like, okay, we're gonna inspect them and start a war or something.
Yeah. Some of the other arms dealers actually brought in the Antonov AN-12, the transit plane.
Yeah.
That was actually being used in between him actually doing sales.
Yeah, and in certain place, and it really depends on what source you're looking at, because some of them are bad. One source I saw was like, yeah, they bought this plane, and it was one of the most expensive items. I was like, really? I don't think they bought a plane.
They did not buy the plane. No.
They borrowed it. They basically rented it, but when they were not using it, they literally was still doing arms dealings. Like you said, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So our favorite Lord of War, actual warlord, Andre Baptiste, is actually based heavily off of the Liberian warlord Charles Taylor. Very heavily. Yeah. And Yuri is he's an amalgamation, but most notably Victor Anatolievich, aka the Merchant of Death.
Yeah, Victor Bout, I think it's called. Bout or Brought.
Yeah, that's
And he's very famous lately, right?
yeah, because he was part of the deal to get the women's basketball player back from Russia.
Yeah, Brittany Griner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
They're like, you let him go, we'll let her go.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
No, I'm putting the pieces together. I know. So knowing who that is now. Okay. Wow.
He's not the guy that they based it on, but he was like
one of the guys. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like amalgamation of 5 different guys, 6 different guys, something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like the main dude.
So, I do kind of like this because it's just really funny. Colonel Southern is based directly off of Oliver North.
Really? Not Rumsfeld?
No, off of Oliver North, because he was selling arms to Iran to fund the Contras.
Contra. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end, the reason why he gets out is because he always says, "Your enemies are my enemies."
Mm-hmm.
I got it.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Oddly enough, a sequel is currently in the works.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's gonna be about Nikolai, his son.
Is it also gonna star Conor McGregor?
Oh, that just makes me sad. But apparently Nick Cage is coming back for it. He's reprising his role. So
okay. Like I said, you probably haven't seen Roadhouse, so you're not as pissed off as I am.
So Monica Bellucci was actually supposed to play Ava.
Oh, the Bridget Moynihan role?
Yeah.
Okay. Any reason why she backed out?
She actually had to back out due to schedule conflicts.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yes, James, the Cage returns.
Yes. What's really odd and kind of funny, the way that it's written, the people that are responsible for the arrest that are actually kind of the heroes at the end of this, Jack and Ava.
Yeah.
Those are the names of Niccol's kids.
Nice. Okay. Okay.
So he got a little bump for his kids in there.
Yeah.
Everything else is just kind of interspersed. There's a real fun one later when we get to the helicopter scene.
Yeah, I figured as much. One thing I have to add, apparently it took, you said it was a concept. It took about 5 years to actually finish the screenplay.
Yeah.
Roughly about 5 years. And according to Niccol himself, they wrote the role with Nicolas Cage in mind. So they basically wrote the role for Nicolas Cage. And he went to Ukraine to work with Ukrainian arms dealers.
Yes.
So strange, right?
Yeah.
And they also worked closely with Amnesty International.
Still, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say what's interesting about that too is just the fact that you could really tell that it is written for Cage because it actually has pauses for Cage mannerisms in there.
Yeah. Yep. I was gonna say even that part in the plane where he's like, "You're the shit, Yuri. You're the shit." I'm like, that's like one of those things you have to write in for Nick Cage because it's just so like janky and weird. Like only he can pull that like awkward like pep talk in there. So I thought that immediately when I was watching it.
And also when he gets the news about the fall of the Soviet Union, da da da.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's get right into the thick of things. It actually starts with a very interesting opening kind of intro. So all the credits, all the stuff are running in the background, but you're actually seeing the outline messaging of the movie straight from the get-go, where you've got basically the bullet from production to basically a kill, which that is the mood you start off the movie with. So what you think about it, Shax?
It was cool. I think it holds up pretty well as far as like the I guess it's CG, like computer generated. But it holds up well. It looks good. And I think it kind of, I mean, seeing where it starts like in the factory and kind of all the way through to that thing, I think it sets the tone for the movie overall. Like this is where we're going to go. We're going to just start off with this innocent little thing, all the little pieces kind of coming together, and then like its journey along the way. And it kind of, I guess in some ways mimics how Nicolas Cage kind of, finds his way through the industry as well. It's different. It's very, very different from so many other movies. And actually, what's funny is, as many times as I've seen it, I didn't remember this opening, and so when I sat down and watched it, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is how it begins." But and I thought it was a very interesting, and I don't think I realized in the past either that the bullet, it kills a little kid at the end, basically like an adolescent, and I just thought, wow, like I guess. It's a very, it just speaks to the nature of war, and especially in that region of the world.
Well, what's important too is the fact that it's not only kills a child, it kills a child soldier because he's also carrying an AK-47.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, and to me, like I said, when I kind of went back, read the thing about the Amnesty International thing, and I was like, yeah, this is exactly the sort of that's the message they want to convey. That it really doesn't matter if it was like a Russian factory or an American factory. It's just that this bullet is produced somewhere in the world, but it ends up killing a little innocent but not innocent kid in a war that is so far apart from where this factory actually is. And it really doesn't matter. Like I said, Russian, American, Ukrainian, German, whatever. And it just ends up there. But it's not only there. So there are so many other conflict regions in the world. It's just that Africa is the most tumultuous, especially when it comes to like sort of late 80s, early 90s, where sort of the world itself is kind of like being broken up and being reshaped by the forces of the West against the East. And then it starts off with, I like this. What kind of a toupee that they used to do?
Well, and also with Yuri explaining the number of firearms, And he's like, the only question I have is how do we arm the other ones?
Yeah. How are you on the other? They're 11. Yep.
Yeah.
And it immediately sets up Yuri as sort of he's thinking outside of the box. He's not thinking about, and again, he's not thinking about drugs, but he's involved with sort of like he's living in Little Odessa. I think is it Lower East Side or Lower Brooklyn or somewhere?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna be there soon, so it's. But no, the fact that he's not involved with any violence. He's got a family restaurant. His dad imitates a Jewish person because why not? Because
Well, no, because they had to pretend to be Jewish in order to escape Ukraine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I thought was another cool thing that kind of, I don't know, like it also sets up the whole like his dad pretended to be this thing, and in order for him to get into the gun running industry, he had to pretend to be like an expert in gun. You know, he's sitting there reading the Uzi magazine like right before everyone comes in. Then like, and in a lot of ways, it's like what a lot of us do is we put on this mask in order to get over that one stepping stone to get to the next spot. And I thought that was an interesting part too of this whole thing is the masks that we all wear at some point to disguise ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
I like this great shot. You can't really, I can't really show the exact same these thing, but you've seen it in the back where he puts the chain with the bullet inside as he looks at his father's Jewish restaurant.
Yeah.
And
the line that he says too is like, "Little of my life has been kosher ever since then."
Yeah.
So like, and my dad is more Jewish than most Jews, and his mother's yelling at his father. He's like, "What? I like the hat."
yeah, the thing is this, it's in the late 80s when Gorbachev kind of went in and there were already peace talks between Gorbachev and Reagan. The whole Jewish thing, we saw it most because late 80s, that's where a lot of Russian Jewish Jews kind of like, okay, Israel's like open, let's go. And they just let them out, and it just flooded. And it as soon as the wall fell, it became like from a trickle into like a real flood, up to the point where 20% of our country is about with Russian origin, because Israel.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Right, the relationship between the brother, the early relationship, kind of sets up right at the start. And first, not really the relationship, but the fact that he admires this woman from afar, Ava. He admires her straight from afar. Doesn't have any contact with her. Doesn't think he even kind of deserve her in a way. He doesn't really say that. He doesn't really touch it, but the fact that she's far away and she's sort of a dream that he can't really grab. And then it kind of harkens back to when he does have enough money to literally not buy off the hotel, but rent this hotel and rent this jet to make sure he kind of looks like this, kind of like that guy who, that Tinder guy who, swindled all those women. If you know the guy, there was never mind. A Tinder guy who swindled all the women because he took loans and he paid off for like jets and hotels, and he got them to pay for it at the end. Never mind. So with Ava, he kind of, there's a big circle around where he's like from afar, but then he, when he wants to, he puts on the moves and he gets the girl. Mm-hmm. But with his brother, it's sort of like he needs to drag the brother along because.
Yeah, that's kind of the interesting thing is what a degenerate, Vitaly is.
Jared Leto playing another degenerate?
Yeah. Yeah,
right.
I know. It's just cocaine this time, not heroin. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But with Vitaly is oddly enough the moral compass, because he's the one who's apprehensive because he thinks it's morally wrong what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's weird. The whole point of when he kind of falls into the drugs, and then Yuri kind of puts him and takes him off to this rehab place, with a very expensive rehab place. Just look at the building. And it's like, okay, fine. And he just sprinkles a bit of cocaine because he knows.
Right.
Just that one extra pick me up. Just
You
before
need a
go
bump
into
before
the-
you go in. That.
It's like, you're an alcoholic. Here, have a glass of wine just before you go into like Betty Ford. Here we go.
Well, from the very first meeting too, like right after they sell the Uzis or whatever, and they're walking back and they're executing the kids against the wall. You could see it in Vitaly's eyes, like this isn't really what I want. And I think everything just sort of, everything kind of goes from there. And you see I think his downward spiral is his way of coping with it and trying to, bury any of those like feelings of doubt. Like, no, I'm here with my brother. We're doing what we have to do. And then it's just a vicious cycle. I mean, I'd say what you want about Jared Leto. I think he's a fantastic actor. I know he plays degenerates a lot, but he has some good range, and I think he has a lot of emotion. I think he's a bad rap, but he does great in this movie.
This is up there with
fucking Joker. Then that's why.
Well, he got really screwed out of that too. Which,
Let's not start that conversation.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So, anyway, so you showed the picture there of them going to the Berlin arms meeting, and how Simeon Wise just basically blows off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
Yuri he calls Yuri an amateur, even though Yuri was trying to act not like an amateur. So he was acting the part. He was approaching. He was like forward, not too all over the place, crazy. He approached it not like Nicolas Cage,
right?
But this arms dealer was like he recognized an amateur immediately, and I love it when this is like a subtle setup to a payoff at the end where Yuri comes into him is like, who's the amateur now? It's like,
okay.
Well,
what's interesting too is the fact that it seems as though Simeon Weiss is actually the more ethical one, because he even says, "What, you sell to everybody?" Like, are you sure I didn't want both of them to lose?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I absolutely love this. Not the scene itself, but the imagery of, the Americans just left, so they left everything behind. This is 2005, not 2022.
Yeah.
But it when I saw this, it felt super relevant to today, where like the US left Afghanistan and left everything behind, like billions of equipment behind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically, maybe not looking like this, but basically he goes into this deal and he buys guns not by the unit, he buys them by the fucking weight.
Yep.
Insane. But that's and this is real. They went to real dealers and they asked them about real deals, and they got apparently they got straightforward answers. Look, if you got guns, it's by the pound. If you got ammunition, it's by the pound. Everything is by the pound, unless it's a big ticket item, a helicopter or planes or tanks. Those are by units. Otherwise, everything is by the pound. It's insane. Yeah, and this is what this is part of the criticism they got, where we might get to it at the end. But part of it is the fact that some critics say this movie is glorifying this arms race rather than putting a magnifying glass on this and saying, look, this is an issue. We have to deal with it, maybe regulate it, maybe not regulate it. We don't know,
No, I think that's a misinterpretation of the film then, because it's very clear that Yuri's life is completely destroyed at the end, and the only thing he has left is this business where he is just, again, this merchant of death, and that's all he has now. He's lost his family, he's lost his brother, and his parents will never speak to him again. Like, he has lost absolutely everything in his life, and at the end, he's miserable. Because what is the last line of the film? Remember?
No, sorry.
Never go to war, especially with yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. See,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I do think that I could see where like Congress people in the United States would be like, oh no, we don't, this is a violent film. We don't want to, whatever. But I think the normal viewer would look at this, like maybe in the beginning as like, oh, this is cool. You can make a lot of money. But by the end, you see this person who has lost everything, and that is the point, is to watch this person go from, supporting their life and trying to make something of themselves and getting the dream girl, and then finally ending up in this place that like he's by himself again. He's lost the people he's loved, cared about most, and like I said, we'll get into the specifics of that, as we go along. But it is a very dark film in some ways, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But again, it interspersed with, as I mentioned this backstage before you joined us. This film has so many great just one-liners that pop in.
Yep.
Like that, where he says, like, I supplied every army except the Salvation Army.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Right. Let's do this. Let's stop for a bit, and we'll do our first game of the night. It is called Missing Marquee. Missing Marquee is where we take 10 posters of movies, have their text written off, we display them, and Mr. Shagsworth here will have to guess which movie this is. Don't worry,
Shit.
chat is on your side. Here we go, and bablam, and we'll do this.
Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels.
Oh man.
It's 2 words. The first word is the profession.
This
Cop
movie-
Out.
Cop Out is correct.
That's Godzilla. Was it 2000 or 97 or whatever?
98.
98. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matilda.
Matilda.
18.
The A-Team.
That's The Bourne Identity.
That is The Bourne Identity. Correct.
The Da Vinci Code.
Correct.
The
We were just-
Holiday.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, this movie's so good.
The Machinist.
The Machinist.
Wall Street.
Correct, sir. Why did you ever worry?
There you go. See?
Fucking great, man.
I think that's a top contender up there.
The only way I would have gotten Cop Out is what you said. I wouldn't have gotten it otherwise.
Literally the movie that Bruce Willis told like Kevin Smith, I'll do some work with you. And after that, it was like, I don't want to ever see you again in my life. Fuck you.
Really?
Yes. They were butting heads all the time because Bruce Willis is doing a cop action movie, so he wants to have his way because I'm John McClane.
This was after Die Hard 4, right?
Die Hard 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that Live Free or Die Hard? Was that?
I think so.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
It's the one where Kevin Smith plays the warlock, basically playing himself.
Yeah. And Justin Long's in that one too.
Oh yeah, so yeah, that was Live Free or Die Hard, because it was the whole like he doesn't know how to combat cyber security. And Timothy Olyphant was the bad guy in that, right?
Yeah.
Anyways,
I can shoot a computer. That's not gonna work, man.
All right. Well, we'll do this. The boat scene. It's kind of in the sequence of the stuff that actually showed, where you see the guy with the bricks, and then you see him in sort of like, I think it was supposed to be Somalia or one of those places.
It was supposed to be in North Africa.
North Africa,
essentially,
somewhere. It's because it's a desert, so it's Sahara-ish, so Libya, Tunisia, whatever it is. And then one of those things is sort of our introduction to the Ethan Hawke character, where you see Yuri is always updated. Like they see a ship coming in, and he gets a guy on the phone, and it's like, I need a legit ship with a legit cargo ship, because they're looking for this particular ship. from this particular country, and he's like, okay, get me. He gets like the Netherlands flag, or needs to get the Netherlands
No,
flag.
he gets the Dutch flag, and he needs the Dutch flag, but he gets the French flag and turns it sideways.
Turns it sideways. Yep.
And they changed the side of the ship. And what I saw somebody write is, if you changed the name of the ship mid, like,
It's very bad luck.
yeah, it's very bad. Let's say, like, it's one of those naval things that has been years and years and years. One of the don't bring a woman on board. It's bad luck. That sort of type of thing.
We'll get Red Sky at Night. Yeah, that.
Yeah, and changing the flags is not an issue. So changing the colors, under what color you're flying under.
What flag you're flying under is fine, but
Exactly,
don't change the
that's
name.
fine. But changing the name of the ship is fucking bad no. And apparently the bad luck starts to chase him, but I didn't see it. It's like it only comes back around at the very end.
In a way, it kind of does, because this is sort of the beginning of the downfall. Because as after this, they have the deal where it goes south and he gets the cocaine, and that's where Vitaly falls off and Yuri's on his own. Even though he has all this business success, especially after the USSR fall scene, that comes up later. But it's still like he's starting to fall apart already.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of. Well, I can see that because he was on a way up, and at the ship, it's still a way up as he's going down. Never mind. But we do see Jack Valentine, or Ethan Hawke's character, kind of being presented to us as who he is, what he's looking for, what he wants. And Yuri even says it in the monologue. He even mentions the fact that there are always these kind of guys who are doing this not because they want to bring down someone for their own particular, for their own accolades, but they want to do it for the real justice of the thing.
Yeah.
And they don't understand why there's like guys like me.
Yeah. And you know why Ethan Hawke got the role, right?
No, I don't.
Training Day.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Because he plays the same kind of just like nothing but just
By the books.
guy?
Yeah. And also,
Fucking
can we
typecast.
just say that Jack Valentine? How is that not like a hard-boiled detective character already?
Yeah.
Well, he is a composite again.
Yes,
Everybody's
of
a
several
composite.
DEA agents and one major ATF agent. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they used one international guy, but I'm not sure. It's sort of vague when it comes to that. But then we kind of have that. It's a really great scene because I saw this without subtitles, and it's even better because you really don't understand what the Spanish guy is saying. I don't know if he's Colombian, Bolivian, whatever it is. It really doesn't matter. It's like, okay, we're gonna like pay you with cocaine.
Yeah.
It's like, don't you realize that this is worth way more already? It already like skyrocketed in value, so you're gonna make more money if you sell this. It's
Yeah,
like,
and to me,
but is it like I sell guns? I don't sell drugs.
exactly. But the fact of the matter is, he's like, this is like late 80s. This is before the fall of Russia, right? This is before he's in his house and kissing the fucking TV because Gorbachev says the USSR fell. This is like the height of Escobar stuff. It's like, don't you know this thing is way worth than like a couple of $1 million? This is worth insane amount of money. But he's not in the drug. He says it itself. I'm not in the drug business. I'm in the arms business.
Yeah, exactly.
But and then he mentioned after they have that party, he does mention the fact that he made a bucket load of money. Like
Even though an entire kilo went missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that scene with Jared Leto. They made the map of the Ukraine on the coke.
Yeah, I was just going for that. It really made me laugh. First of all, I don't know if you've seen cocaine. You can't really do that with cocaine. Not like that. It's a bit
Well,
more.
you can. It's just a lot. It's a
Can.
lot
It's
that
just a
wasted, and
lot of
all.
cocaine.
There's absolutely no way you could do a quarter of that without your heart wanting to explode.
Yeah. But then he like casually wipes it away from the table, and it was like,
Fuck
oh.
you! Fuck you! Fuck.
Oh, he was so yeah.
And to me, I think Jared Leto was acting the part, because if you are an addict like that and you saw so much of this stuff going to waste, I would be fucking upset too.
Oh yeah, yeah. You'd be furious.
The fact that he was like super paranoid. It's like, yeah, that's fun. I really laughed about this, but this is the first time he's like, okay, I need to take you to rehab, but how about like a bump before you go? And he gives him that like brotherly hug, and he's like,
You're a good brother. You're a good brother. And the second time when he takes him, when he opens the door, like, oh, hello, Christian.
there's a lot of these. There's a lot of these moments where I really like chuckled, because it's to be fair, this is a very serious movie about a very serious topic, but they stop and do these little scenes, and they're not necessarily there to make you laugh, but they're very funny to me.
Yeah.
And Cage and Leto both are really serious, intense actors, and they're doing this very intense scene, but it's so fucking hilarious because it's nonchalant the way they're doing this thing, and it's really funny to me.
Well, I think it's also I think there's a level of reality to this movie in that, like, even the worst people in the world have moments of like normalcy, and like they're joking with people, or like, you know, have their quips and stuff. So I guess in that way, it's just kind of how life goes. And these guys just play extremely well off each other. Nicolas Cage just kind of has a natural timing to things, and that it works so well. They wrote this movie beautifully for him.
Yeah, and one of the things after this is actually that's where Ava comes into real play, where, like I mentioned, Yuri buys the hotel and everything. And again, those one-liners that you mentioned, Oh My Feelings, the fact that it's like, I don't think anybody's in this hotel. She kind of, is it her or him said it? I think she said it to him.
Yeah.
And there's a shot like sort of straight out of a Bond movie where she comes out of the water with this white bikini, and he's like laying there all being James Bond like with the sunglasses looking at her, and having this kind of scene. And then they have that dinner where, interspersed with that, you can hear Yuri's kind of inner monologue saying, I don't have to have all these millions. I just need to like show her that it kind of looks like I have.
Need to fake it. Well, and that when the plane goes off, the paint is just like peeling away.
Yeah. I want to get
Yeah.
And he has that line where it says, you know, some of the best relationships are based on lies. Since that's where they all end up anyway, I figured it was a good place to start.
Yeah. Even my wife laughed at that line, because she had never seen this movie, and she had laughed at that.
Yeah.
While we were watching it. Yeah. It's
a good movie to watch on my wife's birthday. Oh yes, I did.
nice.
Well, she wasn't present. I don't think she likes this movie so much. I think the first time we saw this was actually together, and it came on cable because I haven't seen it in the theaters. And immediately I was like, I think I missed only the intro, the very first kind of talks, and I came in when I saw it for the first time as like the first deal, but then I went back and rewatched it, and it's awesome. And like I said, I don't think she likes this movie this much, just because of the subject matter rather than the performance. And of course, it kind of rolls around to them being married, And there's a beautiful shot. I don't have it here, but there's a beautiful shot where they're in the balcony overlooking Central Park. And you know, if you've got a balcony overlooking Central Park, even in 1988, 990, you're rich. Like
Mucho
rich,
bucks.
rich.
Yeah, you're a multi-millionaire at
Yeah.
least.
And I think after this is where the first time he goes by himself to that underpass, right?
Oh no, he goes
Oh,
to the
to
bunker
his-
before that.
No, he goes before that. Right. But I want to get to Leto's character. Yeah, we'll leave it here because it's very hard to pinpoint. The fact that his brother is coming in on Christmas, and this is, of course, a few years after that. He comes in with this girlfriend, right?
She's
Angel.
Angel. She's my angel. Let's put her on the
Let's put her on the tree.
And then he just crashes into the tree and the presents, scaring like Yuri's son. It's like Andre, I think. What's the name of the son? See,
Oh, Nicolai.
Nikolai.
I was so good with the name so far. Nikolai and Yuri's like he's like escorting this half naked chick out of the fucking apartment. And of course, this leads to having him, taking him again to the rehab because, it is what it is. But it kind of leads off to, in that Christmas, that's where he kisses the TV. I think, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's this Christmas. Yeah, where he kisses he kind of leaves the party and he looks at the TV. I like this. This is a great pause. He looks at the TV and he's like, yes, duh. It's like the fall of the USSR. And he kisses the fucking TV. And his father doesn't really get it. It's like, Dad, like, this is a great opportunity for me, for my business.
Well, and his wife is trying to tell him that his kid just walked, and he's like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, honey.
Right. It's like, it's fine. It's all good. And he's just so focused on, I'm going to make so much money. This is great. And after he takes his brother to the rehab again, he goes to his uncle in the Ukraine. And of course, he explains the fact that every former Soviet sort of it's the Warsaw Alliance countries. So Poland, Bulgaria, Hungary, all the Eastern Bloc kind of fell, and everybody had the surplus amount of arms because it's the Russian army or it's a Russian alliance or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time to party because all these countries are poor and, a lot of corrupted, still are in many, many, many places.
Yes, very much so.
It is, I think, not to get too much into politics, but before all the stuff happened with the Russian-Ukraine war, I think Ukraine was ranked 169 or 148, depending on which table you're looking at, on the most corrupted countries on the planet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus.
according to the UN statistics. Because anywhere you go, there you have to bribe somebody to do anything that you want, including anything that you want, not to mention certain research laboratories.
That was one of the big things, like right when all this started, like why people were like, what is going on? Like 2 years ago, we were talking about how corrupt this place is. Now we're helping them. So
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's all a part of that. Greetings to Jillian in the chat. And this is where the first cut of like I said, it comes back around to Simeon where they have that extra meeting because he's an arms dealer, that's an arms dealer, And finally, Yuri comes from a place of strength. He's not the amateur anymore. He's done enough deals by this point. A few years have passed, and he's got the inside connection, and it kind of shuts Simeon out, and that leads into a certain amount of friction, right? Because, Simeon wants to cut into this deal, but he is prohibited.
I told him to go have intercourse with himself.
That conversation, like, if you remember, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but I did. In the Berlin Congress, they shot Ian Holm from the top up, so looking from down and upwards. So he looked a lot not a lot larger, because Nicolas Cage is a lot taller than Ian Holm, but they were on basically the same footing in terms of height. But Ian Holm was shot from below to above to make him look like he's taller, and here it's the other way around, where Yuri is looking much taller, and they're looking up towards Yuri, and it kind of lowers Ian Holm's character Simeon down a little bit. It kind of, you can see their interplay in terms of who's got the upper hand here.
Yep.
And it changes because when they kind of meet again in Liberia, they're on the same plane.
Yep.
When Yuri's forced to shoot Semyon, basically.
Well, he actually, he's not the one who shoots him. It's really, it's Andre.
Yeah, it's really,
because he says stop just a second too late. But what's also interesting about that too is that the interplay between the two, but also the way that it's explained how he's doing that. How he's saying like, oh wow, there's 70,000. That looks more like a 1. That's not a 7.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
And then also like when he's walking by that, by the tanks, you buy 6, you get 1 free.
Yeah. Right.
And also, just a side note, the guy that was working on the helicopter, that's Nicolas Cage's son.
No way. Really?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why when he says, son, get off that before you get hurt.
Yeah.
That's funny.
He's telling him that in Russian.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny because I didn't know that. It's a throwaway line. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't have any subtitles. Then I went to check it today, and it's like, oh. It that's kind of like, okay, I get it. It's fun. It's a fun little interplay. And if you know, you know. If you don't know, it's just a throwaway line because he just doesn't want him to get hurt, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do like cinema tricks like that because I spent a year in film school, and we talk about that sort of thing and how that's just stuff that makes things different, tricks with the camera to make people look bigger. Like, I mean, you look at even like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's constantly shot from sort of a lower angle because he's a short guy. But I mean, in everything you think he's this like 6'5", monster. And Tom Cruise is the same way. More often than not, they're shot at a lower angle.
The same way.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
especially when it comes to like, if you're in a situation where it's like an action hero, so he needs to look bigger than life, regardless, or some sort of a powerful authoritarian character. Doesn't need to be like a military dictator, but I'm saying just comes from authority. Always shot from an angle from down to up. It's very well known. But they one of the things that kind of happened with this is he kind of get pinched, but not really, because everything the chopper they took away all the arms from the chopper and gave it a separate kind of shipment form or whatever. You do shipping stuff, right? I don't. My wife does. So all the different shipping.
Yes, for international shipping. So like if it's under a different claimant, so it could be going to the same place, but if it's in separate shipments, it actually can be shipped legally. It's it's weird how you can skirt different export laws.
Yeah, and the fact that they
Wait,
look each
I
other
didn't
in
say
the face-
that. I didn't say that.
What?
Well, well, my wife tucked my ear off on shipping stuff, so I know, but I don't know. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But the fact that they both Jack Valentine and they're kind of talking back and forth. The fact that, oh, this chopper is going to like aid in Africa. And it's like everybody knows it's not going to aid in Africa. But because Jack Valentine is so by the book kind of guy, and Yuri knows that, they skirt that like very fine line of what's allowed and what's not allowed. And because they just, it's thinly veiled allowed, they just can't pinch him. They really want to, but they know they won't it doesn't hold up in court. It's just a waste of time. So they just give up. And they go in a different angle. And the next time we see him, it's a very interesting scene. I like that scene. But at the end of the day, literally, Yuri is talking to Ava, and this is great because I've got a story about this. It's a Russian restaurant, and somebody gets shot to hell, but not really. Sort of in the same way that you saw at the kind of start, the intro, where Yuri sees a couple of gangsters go
the gang hit,
restaurant and shoot up the place, but they miss the main dude, so he kills them. And this is kind of the same, where somebody shot up a restaurant, then literally somebody chases after him with a gun to shoot back. I was witness to something similar, but not with guns. I saw a spillover from a bar fight in a Russian restaurant into the street. And it was boys against boys, girls against girls, and at some point it was boys against girls because the girls started it.
Oh boy.
Now, I don't enjoy people like getting beat up for in real, not sports. Sports is something else. Like for real beat up, I don't enjoy that much. But the fact of the matter is, the girls took off their dresses, but they didn't expect the boys to like rip off their bras off. So it was a show.
Oh man.
It was a show.
So you were the one. You were pulling Nicolas Cage over there, going da da da.
I was literally as sitting back and enjoying myself after a full shift of like bartending. It's like, yeah, that was great. That was awesome. No, I was not working in that Russian restaurant. I was working in a restaurant next to that Russian restaurant. Yeah, that was crazy. But this whole ordeal where there's like shooting in the background, and he's talking to Ava, and he's like, "What's that?" It's like, "Oh, it's nothing. It's like fireworks, whatever." It's like, yeah, sort of like I guess this is not the first conversation where is something going on in the background, and he was like, "No, that's fine, dear. That's all good. We're all good."
She even knew. I thought it was interesting how, like, even in one of their, I think it was maybe right after the wedding or during the wedding, she's talking about like, I understand you're not all that you pretend to be. And she's like, they're of this understanding that like, I get that this is not coming from marketing or whatever you say it's coming from. But I'm okay with that. But this is also the other slow sort of downfall of Yuri, is like his family is falling apart because his wife knows that he can't keep this lie going forever, as much as he wants to. He can't have his cake and eat it too, type thing. It's sort
of like mobster wives. That I know he's not doing construction or working with the Teamsters.
Yeah,
I kind of know, but I don't know, and I really don't really want to know.
That's really more of the thing is you don't want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to be exposed to the horrors, and B, you don't want to have sleepless nights thinking about, well, maybe somebody would want to like assassinate my husband or me or my children
kids. Yeah,
because what my husband actually does for a living.
yeah.
Yep.
And I was Shags, that was during the reception. That was
The reception. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I'm just
We're
reminded.
always going back and forth because we're always going to miss something in some certain point. That's not a big issue.
I was gonna say the other thing too, just about that before we talk about Dimitri's death, which he got screwed over there.
Yeah, you can.
Was the explanation of the AK-47?
Yeah,
It's like it's top. It like was Russia's top export, except for vodka, caviar, and suicidal novelists.
Yeah. Yeah.
one of those one of those one-liners where I literally chuckled because I knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the fact that you can actually see what I'm queuing up. It helps the flow of this wasn't meant for his uncle. It was meant for Yuri.
Because Yuri is the one who the name on the title, who bought the car. Yeah.
Who bought the car. And it's sort of like you don't really know who it's from, but you can guess, and then it gets sort of confirmed once he gets to Liberia. Yeah, it was Simeon.
Way later in the film.
Yeah. And that's what kind of leads to Simeon's downfall of sorts. Not really. His death. Right. Moving right along, because I did mention Liberia, and this is where the whole Liberia thing comes into play. But before we get like deep into serious doo-doo, this scene is just hilarious.
Well, because this is after the first bit.
Yeah, I know.
With them. But it's like, when I moved to America, I will not live in Brentwood.
The dude lives in Liberia, and you've just seen the horrors of what's going on there, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna live in Brentwood. Why? Because there's a massive murderer afoot. Fucking crazy. It's just
He nearly cut her head off.
It's just funny. Man, what's his name? Is it Eamonn Walker? It's
Eamonn. The
Eamonn Walker.
Yeah.
First time I saw him, Oz. He was.
Yes. Oh God, he's fantastic in Oz.
I don't remember what was his name.
I don't remember. He's not Adebisi.
It's an
I can't
Arabic
remember what
name.
his name is. Yeah.
Whatever.
But he's the one that's in. Basically, he's the reformed. He turned to Islam when he got.
He turned to Islam when he was incarcerated.
Yeah.
And sort of like that, but he was still kind of vicious.
Not really. Like, most of the time, like, he's mostly like more of the moral character in there. Also with I can't remember the name of the character, the guy in the wheelchair who's the narrator for most of the seasons of Oz.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, never mind. And it's sort of weird that later on they played in Lost, but they were never together on screen.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But it's casting and all that stuff. But he plays basically Charles Taylor, but the character's name is it Andrew?
Andre Baptiste.
Andre Baptiste. But he keeps calling him Andy.
Andy, yeah.
Which you can tell pisses him off.
And it really pisses him off. And I was like, Yuri, maybe not call him like that name.
Especially after the first time when they have that meeting with the big sit down, he just with that it's the Magnum. He just shoots one of the guards because he's hitting on one of the girls that are in the palace. Yeah. It's like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be trying to piss this guy off. Just and also, can you get me the gun of John Rambo?
It's the bit. It was like, can you get me the John Rambo? It's like 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah. That
I've only seen one.
that scene with the 357 Magnum is like probably my favorite scene in the movie because they, uh, uh, Andy basically says like he says something to the fact of like blaming like violence and war on MTV, and he just like chuckles, and I just thought like this it's such a like perfect like moment of levity in this very very tense scene. I mean, they're dragging the dead body away, like, and you know he just shoots the guy in the head.
Yeah, I think it's like, damn it, why'd you do that? And then everyone gets pissed off, like, how can I sell a used gun? And I'm
Right?
like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna like you.
Well, and like that seems like one of those very like improvised moments on his part. Like, what do I do to like turn this around and you know establish authority? And then that's what he does: snatches it away and starts like rubbing it down and
Yeah.
and cleaning it. And
Yeah.
like because he knows he's dealing with a maniacal psychopath.
Yep.
And not only that, he says his son is even worse than he is.
Because it's like, if I thought I was afraid of Andre. I know I'm afraid of Andre Jr.
But isn't this the sort of like perfect? Because I think that this is one of those perfect things that you see in this movie is how like evil that people perceive Yuri's character. Because if Andre didn't, he would have just shot him right there and took everything from him. There's an obvious recognition of like, you and I are very similar in what we do. I'm more outwardly evil, but like you're pretty bad too. Like you're out here, you know, like when you know, giving him the name the Lord of War. Like there's a reason that they're letting him live the way they do, and even later in the movie when things even go a step farther, it's pretty crazy, like how the juxtaposition of these characters and how one is like the complete opposites, but they have this mutual respect, or at least the real warlord has the respect of Yuri, which is interesting.
The fact that in that conversation Yuri kind of tells him, there's a word for that. It's called warlord, and the guy.
No. He says like Lord of War. Do you mean warlord? And before that, he says Bath of Blood. Do you mean bloodbath? I prefer it my way.
Yeah.
The same thing with Lord of War. I prefer it my way.
And it kind of sets up the fact that is sort of the contrast. Yuri's the Lord of War, and Andre's the warlord.
Yes.
And not only that, the fact that Andre can replace Yuri because there are so many arms dealers trying to make this deal. And because the story is kind of told through Yuri's eyes, you actually do sympathize with Yuri in the fact that he knows that Andres is like a psychotic maniac, but he will do this deal because it's a deal. He sort of, you see the disconnect between what I'm doing to what the sort of like the final action of what I'm setting up is the death of women, children, innocent people. And I'm sort of like facilitating that, but I'm not really doing it.
Right.
I'm only doing this for the money, as if I'm selling a comic book, a cucumber, or
he tries to justify it at the beginning too. Was it car salesman and cigarette salesman?
Yes.
Pound the pavement. Yeah.
And it's sort of if you think about it, it's sort of a through line in between the movie of, because it's sort of told from his viewpoint, you see that sort of particular viewpoint, which is the arms dealer, not specifically Yuri, but the arms dealer viewpoint of what is my job in society? What is my place? What is my position in society? I just do the deals. I don't care. And Yuri says it. I don't care which side I'm selling. I can sell to both. War is my business.
Yeah.
I just make money off of war. I don't care where it is and who it hurts. And that's the real disconnect. And another thing is, he is very, very aware of the fact that Africa is
Yeah, it was like,
Dirty.
not a condom in like what was it, 10,000
Yeah,
miles or something like that.
something, yeah.
He said, and also they picked a perfect song, some good old classic Portishead.
Yeah.
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 Totally forgot it was Portishead. But what I'm trying to say is, with having, because the timeline isn't really, you don't really know where you are until you see the TV. Because you see the TV with Mikhail Gorbachev earlier. Now you see the Simpson trial. That's what, 4 years later?
Yeah.
It's 95, so it's like 5, 6, depending
Yeah.
on.
So yeah, depending on how you look at it, bend time a little bit. So time is passing, and 95 is like super duper into that area of it's heavy AIDS epidemic in Africa in certain places, not in all places, in certain places. And that's sort of a concern, and sort of she shuns it away. And I think one of the most powerful scenes, which is very message heavy scenes, is this scene where he
Oh, the
tours with
Kalishnikov
Andre,
kids. Yeah.
and all the kids, and Andre explains that it's like it's even better if it's a kid soldier because you can like mold them and you can tell them.
Well, he says also too, a 14-year-old kills just as well as a 40-year-old man.
Yeah. Bullet from a 14-year-old just as effective. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And it's sort of like putting it in your face, the whole, just understand this is what's going on.
Well,
This
they
is
also
what's
he has it set up too, where it says I can pay you in timber or I can pay you in stones, setting up that in the entire blood market.
Yeah,
Blood diamonds.
the blood diamond trade. I want to get to that. One comment I've seen, again, wrote it down on my notes, is when it comes to Liberia or Africa in general, the costuming was very exact. The uniform is very exact, but also when it's a URF or RUF.
The RUF, yeah.
Yeah, they have certain way of wearing things. Apparently, it's very exact to the source of not RUF, but of certain guerrillas that they have sort of markings that you don't understand unless you're in the know.
Mm-hmm.
And they took that and sort of transferred it and had a unique thing to put on. It's later on, and it's very unnoticeable, but yeah, it's very interesting.
That's cool.
If you don't know, it doesn't change the fact that it's there. But if you do know, it's like, oh, I get it. There's a lot of thought even behind stuff that is not really sort of highlighted or seen or said, like, oh, this is very special. But yeah, never mind. This stuff that I like. It's a lot of stuff that I like that when I know later on, it's like, I really like that they paid a lot of attention to this, because if they paid attention to that, they paid attention to a lot of other things that I did see, that I did recognize, that I didn't know, but it's there and I saw it. And by the way, those are not fucking diamonds. Yeah.
From there, it really cuts from him getting back,
Yeah.
buying Ava's art. I think that was one of the other things that really was kind of the other final nail in the coffin for their relationship, was also she found out that he was the only one buying her art.
Yeah, and later on they have that conversation where after we kind of know he bought her art, where she tells him, I'm a failure. The only good thing I know how to do is be a mom, because I failed as a beauty queen. I failed as an artist. I failed as an actress. All I know is to be a mom. And
well, and the other line that she says too is, he says, "Stop being melodramatic." It's like, what? I'm an actress.
But what she doesn't say, and it's again something I thought about, is the fact that she doesn't say that she kind of failed the relationship part too, but I don't think she's the one that is like. I don't think she's the one that failed the relationship. I think it's Yuri that failed the relationship, but she
For
doesn't
sure.
want to. She doesn't want to tell him that. That's why she doesn't mention the relationship part.
Yeah. I think that's what the audience is meant to see and even understand from that exchange is that Yuri's the failure of the relationship, not her. She gave her all in that. And I mean, you see it from, I mean, the TV thing, like he can't even celebrate wins with his son who's walking. And that's, anyone watching is like, wow, that's a bummer.
And there's another little scene where he comes back home. I think it's from Africa, and Nikolai's already sleeping, and he brings him this telescope into the room, and he gives him this telescope and just leaves rather than just give him a hug or a kiss or something. Sort of being very detached from, very very detached from his son, and only gives him trinkets rather than giving him a father. Again, harkening back to that sort of relationship. And like she said, she mentions the fact that she's a great mom. She doesn't mention the fact that she's a great wife, because that relationship is basically lost.
Yeah, it's over.
Point. Right. The plane boss. We'll talk about the plane and then we'll do our second game.
Well, I was gonna say too. You cut from that one scene where he's in the limo. That's the Goodfellas scene where he's looking up. And he sees
Yeah,
the
when he's
helicopter.
looking up,
Yeah.
when he looks up and he sees the chopper, and he goes under an underpass and he leaves, and the car kind of continues on, and he goes into his sort of place that Ava finds later.
Yeah, and then there's just two more kind of important things too. Is they do see Ava asks him I don't these men are going through a garbage because he's trying to find and that's how Valentine finds out about the information about the plane, by finding all the shreds of paper and piecing them back together.
Yeah, and one of those things where
and also with the toy gun as well.
Yeah, he puts the telescope in and he takes the toy gun away and he puts it in the trash.
Yeah,
which is kind of a juxtaposition between he being an arms dealer, he doesn't want any guns in the house.
Yep.
Yeah. And is it this point where Jack is talking to Ava, or is it after I think it's after the chopper.
It's after this.
After.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, we've got the plane.
Awesome scene too.
Again, you're the shit, Alexi. You're the
You're the
shit.
shit. You're the shit. You're the shit. Yeah. Love it.
Dude, I don't know how they did this shot, but those people are not there because they're going to be in pieces.
No.
They're dead.
No, like for real, they're dead.
I mean, you can do camera tricks, but I don't think that plane's far enough away, because you could have them in the immediate foreground. That could be 80 feet wide or whatever, and then they're on the very far side and it's zoomed in on them. But I don't get the feeling for this. It was probably CG here.
Yeah, the guy.
No, that also with the whole baby bit. Did they really need to have that there?
No. But
it just proves that Alexi really was the shit all along.
Exactly.
No, to me, the fact that they had the baby there and the mother kind of swept it off in the very last moment is sort of how careless or what do we call it? How frivolous life really is in certain parts of Africa, where they don't really pay attention to any human life, baby, mother, grandfather, anyone. Everybody's life is so dispensable in a way. It's really scary. Remember, mid-90s, it's Rwanda, all that stuff in Rwanda, all the stuff in Angola, all the stuff in Mali,
Sierra Leone.
And Sierra Leone is stuff that didn't get solved into deep into the 2000s, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So it's running all over Africa, and it really doesn't matter which zone it is. There's always pockets like Congo and all that stuff. And yeah, I thought it was just giving you a little bit of, oh, this is how frivolous life is in Africa. But I do love the fact that the only reason why they landed is because they were kind of forced to. And then they had sort of Yuri was throwing a Hail Mary into like.
Yeah, just as a side note, what Valentine did with his partner in the fighter jet,
Yeah.
that's completely illegal. You can't do that.
I know. It's one of those things where, to me, it's sort of a movie thing that they.
Well,
had
yeah, it was
to do.
supposed to put the emphasis where it was forcing them to go down, because otherwise they would just keep flying.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of an, we'll call it an outside pressure to make sure they land. And again, one of the one-liners is what took is it 40 Russian? He talked about it took like these people 15 minutes to clear out a plane, where it took the other guys like what
A whole
2
day.
Yeah,
An entire day, yeah.
an entire day to haul everything in, and it took 15 minutes to this village to take everything out. And when Valentine lands in, he puts him in cuffs and he leaves them there for 24 hours because he can hold them for 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, also, what's important too is his partner is not like Valentine. He's like, well, I could kill him right now.
Yep.
And he said, like, who would know? And Valentine's, we would know.
Yep.
yeah, and it really is a reminiscence of his character from Training Day, and it's
By
very
book.
interesting typecasting. And then to me, it was a glorious shot. It's glorious scene of that plane being
The time lapsing,
mantled.
Yep.
They didn't really do that. Not with a
I
real
wouldn't
plane.
think so.
Not with a real plane. I don't know how they did that, but they had to do it somehow because they're real people taking off real things off that plane. So I don't know how they did it, but it's an incredible scene because, again, it took those people 15 minutes to take off just the cargo, but then it took them 24 hours to just strip it down to like the bare bones. In order to do that. I wish I could like play it, but I can't. Right. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for our second game of the night. It is called Screen Fighter.
Round 1. Fight.
And click on scene. Screen Fighter is where we take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good, both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria, which is Friday evening, Saturday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with their significant other. Two movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? And I know I haven't prepared this in advance because A, I was in a birthday mode for my wife, and B, I'm a full-blown idiot. Beverly Hills Cop 3 or A Knight's Tale? So nice that you guys can see what I'm doing behind the scenes, and the guys and gals out there in the chat do not. It looks very seamless, this thing, but oh no.
Oh, let me tell you, it's not.
Beverly Hills Cop 3 or A Knight's Tale?
A Knight's Tale.
Guys and gals out in the chat, please cast your vote.
Is that A Knight's Tale?
Ax?
That's what I think. Yeah.
What?
A Knight's Tale.
A Knight's Tale. Reason?
I don't know. I just think, well, A, it's been a long time since I've seen Beverly Hills Cop 3, and my wife probably watches A Knight's Tale 30 times a month. So that Heath Ledger, though.
Oh, no. She's a big Shannon Sossaman fan. That's what it really is, Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just because that movie, as much as it's probably a chick flick, like Heath Ledger's pretty badass in that, and I think he's definitely gonna take out Axel Foley every time.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Feelings?
I don't like any Beverly Hills Cop past 2.
It's fair.
Just this one.
Yeah.
Currently, There's just
Currently, yes. That's why I said that's why this statement will stand the test of time, because when 4 comes out and it's going to be awful,
gonna
it'll
be
still be
awful.
correct. I would also have to go with The Knight's Tale.
You know that Tom, I don't know if he told you, but he told me, Tom Connors told me the like synopsis of the Axel F. It's bad.
I know it's going to be awful.
It's bad. For me is Liechtenstein. I hate the fucking Beverly Hills Cop 3. The Last Boy Scout or Conspiracy Theory?
Oh,
Jax?
man. I mean, The Last Boy Scout probably. It's just, I don't know. I think I've seen Conspiracy Theory once, and I couldn't tell you. I couldn't really fully remember it. I'll just say The Last Boy Scout because that was just badass. Both of those guys. Yeah.
Cool. Feelings?
Again, given the criteria, 100% The Last Boy Scout.
Given any criteria, Les Samaritan.
Yeah.
That's the French poster. The Last Boy Scout. It is so underrated. It's so crazy. And you know why it's so underrated? Because the movie he did before The Last Boy Scout was Hudson Hawk.
Oh,
Terrible movie.
It's a dude. The Last Boy Scout is a Ridley Scott
No,
movie.
I'm talking about Hudson Hawk.
Right. 6 Days, 7 Nights, or The Parent Trap. Both of them are actually remakes. 6 Days, 7 Nights is a remake of an old Humphrey Bogart, Lauren Bacall movie.
Yep.
And The Parent Trap is I think it's Hayley Mills. I don't remember the name of the movie, but Hayley Mills plays a double role in it too. So
It's
an old.
It's
It was The
it's
Parent
the
Trap?
remake of The Parent Trap.
Yeah.
It was The Parent Trap.
Okay. I again don't remember. I've definitely seen it. It's like an old Disney live action movie. Shag?
6 Days, 7 Nights, because Harrison Ford's badass. I could care less about Anne Hesh, but what's her name there can go to hell.
May God rest her soul in hell.
Yeah. What is her name? The young girl who's
Lindsay
not now.
Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan. Yeah.
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 Okay. Cool.
Even though it's a terrible remake, it's still 6 Days, 7 Nights.
Oh, I can't believe it. It's of course no, fuck that.
Interesting choices here.
Hey, 7 Nights is so fucking terrible. It's so awful. But I wouldn't pick the fucking Parent Trap ever. Storytelling. I don't think I've seen storytelling. Have you, Shags?
Nope.
All right.
I was like, I don't think you've seen that one, Meffistoe.
I've not seen it. I've
Yeah.
not seen it. Let's see. Oh, great.
Oh, God.
Oh, here we go. This is easy.
Force Awaken or Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Interesting movie poster. I've never seen that movie poster
Yeah,
for it.
are they trying to make stormtroopers look effective now?
No. It's,
It looks like almost like a Call of Duty poster. Just
Right?
like
The new skins.
yeah.
I love this website because it has posters from all around the world, and some of them are so beautifully done. So beautifully done. All right, Chags.
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? It's easily one of my favorite movies. And from what I heard, it's supposed to be like a retelling of the Odyssey. Is that correct? Or someone was telling me it's supposed to be a retelling of the Odyssey in some sort of way. This was in one of my film studies class. We were talking about this. But absolutely, these guys. For Force Awakens, we all know that movie.
Yeah. Feelings? It's so easy for you.
Shags, you're absolutely right. It actually is. It's a weird kind of adaptation of the Odyssey.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
But yeah, oh brother, where art thou? I mean, that's just too easy.
Yeah.
I was a big proponent of this movie. However, I've seen it once and a half, and I don't like it at all.
Oh.
However, I don't like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I really don't. It's not for me. I love the Coen brothers. I love their body of work. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is not high on my list of oh, I need to see a Coen brother movie. This is like top 5. Not even. It's like not even. I would admit that I would watch Oh Brother, Where Art Thou any day of the week to Star Wars. And I was a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah. Was being the emphasis.
Right. Shall I move on? Because this is easy for me. The Spaceballs.
Oh yeah, easy Spaceballs.
It's date night.
Spaceballs.
Shaq's, there's a
La
whole
loca historia de las galaxias.
No, La Loca Histeria de las Ducks. It's the craziness in the galaxy.
The crazy history of the galaxy.
The history of the galaxy.
Yeah, for sure.
That'll work, I guess.
All right, cool. The Day After Tomorrow or Bridget Jones' Diary.
Oof.
There's a pause here. I'll start. You know what? I'm gonna watch the Bridget Jones Diary. I'm not a big proponent of disaster movies. I've said it a number of times. I'll say it 1,000 more times. The Day After Tomorrow is not even a good disaster movie. It is so bad, so bad. I would rather watch a fat Renee Zellweger, who is not really that fat in this movie.
Yes, but have you ever seen San Andreas? I mean, come on.
I have seen San Andreas. And the fact that there are 2 big busted ladies in it, one being Gugino and the other one being
Daddario?
Dario.
Yeah.
Wow, how did I know that one off the rip?
Yeah, Bridget Jones' Diary. Basically for all the reasons you said. That's what my vote is.
Feelings?
I would agree with that too. The only reason why I kind of like The Day After Tomorrow is because of the South Park episode making fun of it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what happens? Like, it's coming when? The day before the day after tomorrow. That's tomorrow.
All right.
Okay, this is a difficult one.
No, it's not.
With this difficult one, North by Northwest by Alfred Hitchcock, one of the movies that we were kind of
It was almost on the Hitchcock month.
almost
It
on the
was
Hitchcock
really
list,
close.
and From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
All right.
That's my yep.
Good. Any reason?
Just because it's so badass and there's no way, even though North by Northwest is a great film, if we're talking about, I don't know. Now you got me thinking. I'm sticking with it. From Dusk Till Dawn. Yep.
There's no wrong answers apart from the answers that are not mine. Feeling.
As much as I really, as much as I love Hitchcock, From Dusk Till Dawn is just one of those movies that you could always just turn on and just wait. It's Sex Machine.
I also think it's one of those like really great like Robert Rodriguez films. Like even though he's fallen off, like I think this one's just great. And like you said, feelings like you could turn this on and just it's always just good and fun.
Yeah.
I love From Dusk Till Dawn, but if it's this choice, I don't care about any criteria. It's going to be North by Northwest. It's just such a great movie.
Yeah.
I've actually seen it about a month after we finished Alfred Hitchcock month because I was thinking about doing something with it. It still holds up. It is way slower than you remember, for sure, and it's way slower way slower than From Dusk Till Dawn, because From Dusk Till Dawn has a very high pace. If you like look at it, has a very
but
high pace.
it's actually a really long film though.
It's long. They're both really long, actually.
Yeah.
I think North by Northwest is an hour 50, and
I
it
think so.
feels an hour 50. And From Dusk Till Dawn is 2:15, 2:10.
I do believe so. Yeah.
Right, something like that. But it just goes. It just goes. It's moving. So yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm gonna submit, even though the chat says Jillian is like Hitchcock always wins, but What can I say? Panelists are panelists. Yeah, and we're allowed to like disregard. Next one is
Oh, come on. You got to see Quentin Tarantino just like really, really get into his foot fetish there.
no,
Too.
no. Well, yeah,
Wow. You know that he's the one who wrote the script, right?
I know.
Yeah. And you realize they're like, yeah, there's a reason why he decided to write himself in that role. Just a little bit.
I know, dude. That's why he's writing himself into any roles. Panelist gonna panelist. Yes, Jillian, for sure. All right. We have to get going. We have to start wrapping things up. So we have the Jack Valentine and Ava scene. So Jack and Ava. And Jack is like, listen, your husband is this guy. I need you to help me. And she's like, nope, I don't think so.
Well, no, the reason why is she's actually kind of listening to him and being receptive until he plays the, oh, yeah, remember your dead parents and how they died card? Like, shouldn't have done that, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was well on his way of getting his way, but yeah.
Well, and before that, right before that, we had this whole scene with them killing Simeon and then Yuri doing Brown Brown.
Is it? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I move a little bit forward. This scene.
Yeah.
Like I said, when we have that scene where Yuri's looking at Simeon, they're sort of at the same eye level. This is not a great shot for to press my point, but the fact that when he does look at him, they're sort of on the same level where they were always one has the upper hand. And it's so nonchalant on how Andre is using Yuri to kill Simeon as a gift. He sees it as a gift because
Yeah, but this is the man who killed your family.
yeah,
Take
it's
your
like
revenge. And he grabs his hand around and like, we'll do this together. It'll be a bonding experience.
yeah, and it's like I don't know. You can tell by its face. Like Cage, whatever you want to say about Cage, you know, Wicker Man, not Wicker Man, all that stuff. You can tell Yuri is here hurting because he knows what is about to happen and he doesn't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
He did the same face in the restaurant at the start of the movie where the two gangsters came in the restaurant. Right? He did the same kind of like sad, I don't want to be a part of it kind of situation, emphasizing the fact that the arms dealer doesn't want to touch the actual death.
Yeah. I was going to say like this, and this is Andre saying like, this is the game you're in. This is my role. This is essentially what happens when you put these things in my hand, and this is what they actually do. Here's your dose of reality. And again, kind of hearkening back to what we were saying, like, I want you to see this because I'm allowing you to live, even though you're sort of testing, like even him being as disrespectful as he was, this is sort of his punishment for that. You could even interpret it as that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah, it's literally him getting his real hands dirty into this whole mess, and it's being forced upon him by Andre.
Yep.
And look at where Andre is looking. He's looking at Yuri. He's not even looking at the target, right? He wants to see Yuri suffer rather than to see Semyon suffer.
Yep.
Right? He's making him his bitch.
Well, and the way too that he's also killing two birds with one stone, Andre is, because Simeon was selling to his enemies.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then Yuri tries the brown. Now, I know
You should really try it. Why? It's your gunpowder.
Yeah. I know Shags have seen gunpowder. That's not gunpowder.
Nope.
No.
That's not Coke either. never mind. Don't ask.
That's
me.
no, it's neither.
Right.
No, I know, but they didn't make it close to how it looked. They could have used real gunpowder actually, but they didn't.
Right.
Because they can't really use real coke because it's illegal. But gunpowder isn't illegal.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Fuck. Shit. Yeah, never mind. I love the fact that when he wakes up, the first thing.
Did we do anything? Nah, not much. What's odd too is the fact that they have them speaking French. It was like they don't speak French there.
No, Liberia is an English
English,
speaking.
yeah.
Oh.
It's weird because most of these most of these African countries are left over from like French colonies. Most
Yeah.
of the
Colonization,
ones
yeah.
that have issues, and it's weird. Not all of them, but yeah, Liberia is really set apart. So Sierra Leone, all those places, it's mostly French people.
Yep.
Where was I? Yeah, back to Jack and Ava, and Jack kind of almost hitting it out of the park, but kind of misses it at the last moment. But he does put the seed of doubt into Ava, and she does follow Yuri eventually after they have this
Basically, she convinces him to stop because it wasn't for 3 months, Shags, I do believe,
I think so. Yeah.
where he was actually selling legal commodities.
Yep.
That's why he said the reason why people don't do this is because so many other people are doing it. It's hard to make an honest dollar. It's difficult.
Yeah. And it's so strange that when they do that, Jack is still on his tail because if A, he doesn't believe him, B, he wants to catch him for the other stuff.
Yep.
And there's
Because he's obviously lying. He's telling the truth. But all these, they all check out. It's all legal stuff.
And it's sort of frustrating Jack to no end because he was so close to Ava, and then Ava got Yuri to drop the illegal shit. But it's again when you mentioned Goodfellas, I thought about it. The fact that even Ray Liotta's character in Goodfellas, he even says it at the start of the movie that it is so easy to do the other stuff. He doesn't understand why like honest people go out and do like regular jobs because it's just not worth it. Right?
Like at the end where he goes
and
like,
you get
and here I am, just a regular schnook.
Yeah, regular schnook. Yeah. That's the end. But
well, even when it comes to the whole drug bit, because with Paulie in Goodfellas, because Paulie tries to get him to stop. He was like, "Listen, you were in prison. I knew what you had to do. You had to sell the drugs, right?
Yeah.
But now you're out. You go straight." Like, go straight, as in Goodfellas go straight.
Yeah,
but
go
it's
straight,
kind of the same
mob
way here,
style.
where Ava's kind of giving him the ultimatum, where it's like, no, you have to stop here. And then we have Andre and Junior show up.
Yeah. They
at
show
the
up
house and bribe him basically back in with that just giant fist-sized diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it leads to Ava kind of catching up to that and using
he has a great line though. When he said of all the times that I've lied, I never thought that she'd do it to me. She looked me dead in the eye and she lied without flinching.
Yeah, and that was that conversation where I showed where
was it you trust me, right?
Yeah, right.
Because they were gonna go.
Yeah. After they were talking, and then it's like she trust. You don't understand when he says that, and then it literally cuts to her following him with the limousines, catching on to where he is, and then going to the lock, trying to pick all the locks, and then him saying, narrating the fact that from like all the
she would have understand if it was my birthday, if it was her birthday, if it was her anniversary, but not Nikolai's birthday.
And why not Nikolai? Because he's so estranged from his son. It just keeps on like doing, she didn't figure it out because I'm so estranged from my son. And let's go. Jillian, for the $5, thank you for all the insightful discussion. Have you chatted about Rising Arizona yet? No, we have not. And I'll tell you why, Jillian. Nicolas Cage has such an array of films. We even had to change last week because we wanted to have different things fit with other things. So we started off with sort of peak Nicolas Cage. We kind of went through the downfall, which is basically doing some more art house films, which is Pig and Mandy. And Lord of War is, we'll call it an in-between. Feelings?
It's sort of on his decline before he came back up in the late
yeah, because
2010s.
he had a big downfall after the 2008 crisis, where in the tumultual thing of the crisis, he literally owed a lot of debt to the IRS because he had a lot of real estate holdings that kind of tanked. But he had to owe a lot of property tax, and he had a lot of loans against those properties where it didn't really fit, and he kind of backed into a corner into a debt. Because let's just face it, he's another one of those Hollywood actors that had business managers that weren't really good.
Yes,
and they basically caused it, but it's his fault because just hire a better business manager.
Well, I was going to say too is also when we're going to talk about next year, and I want to do a Coen Brothers month, and Raising Arizona should definitely be on that list.
Yeah. But thanks, Jillian. Thanks for the words and the question. Back into this. The passports. There was an Israeli passport, but they were not allowed to show it for some reason.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
Because because of his Jewish, because he was Jewish or being fronted as Jewish, they went to Israel and then went to, the States.
Oh, yeah.
So they had an Israeli passport, and know it or not, some of these shady gray area arms dealers do work out of here. Some of them have full-on citizenship. Some of them have Israeli passports, but it's good for certain areas in Africa, but really bad in other areas of Africa. Let's just say that.
I would think so.
Somalia, those places, not so much. Nigeria, though, great to have that. Again, don't ask me how I know.
All right.
If you know, you know. But yeah, one of those passports was Lebanese, which is that's the contrast, because he had a Lebanese passport to go into Lebanon and do that deal, not because he was American, because the Americans fled after the whole debacle there.
Yeah.
And then we get to the movie kind of wraps up because as Yuri is going to try to make that last deal, or supposedly that last deal for Andre, he wants Vitaly to come with him. But Vitaly is at a point where
he's clean.
Finally,
he's out.
Finally clean. Yeah. Go ahead. Feelings.
No, well, he's clean. He's completely out of it. He's turned it right back around. Yes, he's back at working in the kitchen of his parents' restaurant, but still, he's leading a good life. Like, he is completely and totally, again, off drugs. He says he has a girlfriend and everything, that he's steady. He's in a healthy relationship. And his brother comes in and says, "No, I need you."
And that, again, the big, again, we're saying at the beginning of the end, but it's sort of the cascade of how it happens, where they go off to make this deal. And they land, and Vitaly's really stressed on, okay, we'll go, we'll do the deal. I know you need me as a brother because we started it together, but let's just give him what he wants and leave. And Andre's like, no, this is not for me. This is for like my brethren across the way, across,
So it's like we're going into Sierra Leone.
we're going across state line with the guns. Never mind. And
This also. Oh,
go ahead.
I was can I add real quick? It almost too is like this part of the movie is almost akin to like a villain's journey where like they just don't learn their lessons, and in some ways Yuri just hasn't learned his lesson and is continuing on this like, no, I can beat these odds, like no problem, and his brother Vitaly is like he's come full circle and realized he can't do this, and it's not like he's got to go about his life another way and enriching his life in other ways. And I mean, even the end of this, they don't explicitly show it, but I mean, I don't even know if I should, I don't even want to, well, I guess we're not spoiling anything, but
it's
like
spoiled already.
No, it's spoiled.
well, after Vitaly like makes his choice and blows up half of this merchandise, they're sitting at the table. He cuts the diamonds in half, and they don't show him. He's like, I basically lose if I make the deal, and I lose if I don't. And the next scene is basically him explaining, well, they got their guns, so he took the deal, even though his brother was killed in the process. Like it's a really like it's almost a villain's journey, not a hero's journey, and it's a really interesting way of constructing a movie, because I think this whole time you're waiting for Nicolas Cage, or I'm sorry, Yuri's redemption, right? And it's like you're almost back at square one now. Like it's a really weird way, but it makes sense because this is where obviously everything just kind of crashes down and it's over. It's over for.
You're saying he was almost out, but they pulled him back in.
Back in.
Yes, exactly.
Well, the whole thing was too is if he didn't end up taking the payment, they would have just killed him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was clearly like again as you said, Shags, he was damned if he did or damned if he didn't. It was there was no positive ending for him.
Yeah, the only reason why it was cut in half is because Vitaly only blew up just the one.
Well, yeah,
Just the
'cause he only
one.
blew up
Right.
half.
There's just another truck waiting there with some guns that didn't blow up. So
Now, had
But
Andre
also-
actually had been there, he'd be dead because he killed his son.
Right. Well, and it also illustrates the lack of humanity in all this, right? Completely drained out of it. Like there's multiple dead people laying there, and all they're worried about is the transaction. Well, only half the goods are here now, so we're only going to give you half now. Like not like, oh, hey, someone, two people are dead. You screwed us over, guns out and blazing. No, it's purely transactional. No humanity left in this. So there's a lot. Like I said, this is a very dark movie. A lot happening in all this, and this scene is again one of my other favorite scenes because it's just Nicolas Cage. Like it's his final moments of like he could have been out and done, but like as we said, he kind of pulled him back in, and this is where he realizes this is it. I can't. Like I can't escape this. My brother's dead. Andre's son is dead. And then I have no choice but to give these weapons up. And the fallout from this is, the massacre that happens afterwards. So it's just, it's really sad.
And he said it happened exactly how as Vitaly told me would happen. They're going to get the
Mm-hmm.
guns, they're going to run in there, and they're going to murder everybody.
Yep.
And when that happens too, it's a complete kind of his own remarks upon not only what happened at the massacre, but really what happened to him, where he says the old saying, for evil to prevail, to good men to do nothing. What they should say is evil prevails.
Yep.
Yeah. And the fact that when he got back to the States, first of all, I love it, Shax, what you said. It's devoid of humanity because that whole scene is devoid of humanity because the human cost is reduced to nothing.
Yeah.
Basically, that full camp was destroyed because they were not us.
Yep.
Yeah. And I love the fact that he mentions the fact that every time there's like rebels, they're always freedom fighters. They're not really fighting for freedom.
Yeah.
They always have these names glorifying them, But
Yeah, and it's literally sort of like, I know you've been into a George Carlin stand up, because he has a line there in one of those shows where he's like, yeah, what do freedom fighters fight? Freedom, right?
Yep.
They're not
Yep.
fighting for freedom, they're fighting freedom.
Yep.
When Yuri comes back, what takes him down is the fact that the certificate isn't matching what actually happened, right? He said he's was it cardiac arrest or something,
Yeah.
or pulmonary disease, but they literally screen it and they find a bullet.
Because I only paid the doctor $20. I probably should have paid him more.
Exactly. And again, it harkens back to everything we learned so far in the movie, where it's just that bureaucracy will take you down rather than the thing itself that you're doing. We mentioned that with the helicopter, where they separated both bills, one goes both go to the same place, but they're marked differently, so it's not really,
Well,
Look
it
at this
was-
shot too. Oh, sorry. Look at this shot too, and how it's constructed. Like with Ethan Hawke kind of surrounded by the blue, and him like bathed. Like he's not even bathed in light. Like there's the orange light coming down on him, but he's still in shadow. It's like this movie is very artistic in some ways too. Like just pausing it here, like whether it's intentional or not, I would say it is intentional. But this is another one of those film tricks that, not tricks, but things that filmmakers do to like distinguish one character from another. And like, Ethan Hawke, like he is like good, and then you have Nicolas Cage, who is bad, or like he's indifferent or something. Like it's really cool.
Context of the light blue meaning it's pure, it's good, it's
Right.
That's connotation, and it's not really red, but it's sort of orangey, dark,
Right.
kind of a thing. Was like,
Or even sun setting, like sun setting on him. Like it could be anything like that. Like it evokes an emotion of like the end. Like ending daylight or whatever. So it's really cool.
I totally get what you're saying, and yeah, I think it's again one of those things where if they meant this, you're like, oh, I get it, I got it. But if you don't, it's a really beautiful shot of he's literally moving, so it's not like he's stopping there,
Right.
but it invokes that connotation where it's on screen and it's meant for you to look at and sort of absorb. And only when you do a rewatch, you get these little things that's like, oh, the director put it there. He didn't say, oh, look at this thing where one is bad and one is good. Just understand where it's going. And it's very subtle. But I like the fact that Yuri tells Jake, look, like the enemy of your enemy is my enemy. He's like,
Well, he said, well, unfortunately for you, I'm a necessary evil, and I will never see a second in a courtroom. Because someone's going to happen is one of your superiors is going to knock on that door, and someone above him is going to tell him to tell you to release me.
yeah. And after
And it was that was Colonel Southern,
Yep.
who he had tried to call before, remember?
Yeah.
Ava got hung up on. And then also
Not a good
the other
time.
thing, too, is that they showed the whole bit where Ava moves out with Nikolai, and that's where Jack ends up getting all the other information in order to try to take him down. It was the bullet that got him in there, but Ava going to the bunker, then giving all the information to Jack, that's the reason why he's in that interrogation room.
Yep.
Exactly. And the other thing is, after I saw this last night, and then going back and doing the research, was like, yeah, no American studio wanted to back this. Oh, I know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is no connection between the U.S. government and any studio in Hollywood.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. You heard that right here. You know that, Papa YouTube? I love it. I love it so much. It's like, oh, really? No connection. No problem. And literally what it after Yuri basically walks out of prison because you see him in a Muslim deserty country.
Well, right
driving
before
another
that, as he's
checkpoint.
getting out there, remember he says the one line. He says, I already know that this is kind of a gimme today. Today I'm with them, and I'll probably be paid for getting put in jail. But tomorrow I could be right back in because my time is finally up.
Yeah.
Essentially.
As sort of like, and it's sort of like that borrowed time kind of mentality. That's where you're like getting connected to sort of the reality of what this movie is trying to portray, is the fact that these arms dealers are doing so many business with so many different factions. They're on top of it, but they know they on any given day they could be just like Simeon there with a psychotic warlord, and it's like, you fucked up, you sold to my competition, you're down.
Yep.
You're dead.
Well, and also you would think that Andre Baptiste would be after him at this point too.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a great shot. I love this shot. It like you said, Shags, there are moments in this movie where this movie is very cinematically, like, even to the point of like art house, trying to give you symbolism and all that stuff. It's a straight out of film school kind of stuff.
Yep.
And this is one of it, is like, this is backing up, and we've got even I'll set it up. It's the shot of Yuri standing there. And it starts off with this. Yeah, I've got it. There, with all the shells on the floor, and kind of backs off and goes into that mode where you see all the shells on the ground. It's a really beautiful shot to end the movie. Him in this war-torn country in the middle of his own doing, basically.
Yeah.
I love this shot.
Well, it's essentially, this is where I think he opens it. This is where he says, how do we arm the other 11? And then it comes back to this to close out. And again, but yeah, the beautiful shot of like kind of panning across the shells to him. Like I said, it shows you, like, you know, this might not be exactly what it is, but in these countries, I mean, there's bullets everywhere. This is the cost of it all. And every single one of these fired at another human being. You know, we're not shooting at buildings. So it's sad. It's crazy. And it's, as much as humorous as this movie is, as funny as this movie is at times, it's real. It's something that people should be aware of. And that's why I think it's not something that glorifies it. I think it really shows the cost of it, but in a very digestible way, in a very Hollywood way. And, you know, obviously the reality is you're in these countries. I mean, especially that scene where the bullets come through the wall and they line the kids up and shot them. Like, that would have been a gruesome scene that could turn people's stomach. And then, you know, and again, like I said, that's a turning point for Vitaly, but Nicolas Cage is just like, he's picking up his money the whole time. And then he's like, come on, we got to go this way. And you're like, I mean, again, setting the stage for a very, like, this is who this character is. This is who the other character is. Like, buckle up, because we're going on a ride.
Right. Yeah.
Yep, definitely. And this is where it's kind of the brothers kind of separate the fact that, oh, I know Yuri's the business guy, Vitaly is the more emotional guy.
Yep.
And he's really not cut out for this business type deal, because he really takes in, and you know, at the end of the movie, you see it again, where he can see the suffering, he can see the humanity where Yuri cannot.
Yes.
And that's what allows Yuri to do these deals, because he's sort of like, he doesn't see humanity. He doesn't meet it head on.
Yeah.
And he even kind of backs away from personal violence and stuff. Yep. All right, cool. That brings us to the end, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, the 2-hour movie kind of passed me by, enjoyed every single minute of it. I enjoyed it as a movie. I didn't enjoy people getting killed. I didn't enjoy seeing the reality kind of pushed on me onto the screen, but I did enjoy the movie as a story that is important for me to know. And the way it was conveyed, the way it was told, in the way of narration, in the way of what Yuri is thinking, to, I don't know, humanize the arms dealer a bit, but not really. I don't like Yuri. I don't like these arms dealers.
Yeah.
Yes, at a certain point of view, you're saying, okay, this is a necessary evil. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Yeah. Quick summarization, Shags, apart from anything you said. I know you kind of said everything, but
Yeah, I mean this movie is great. Like I said, it's something that I try and watch every year at some point, and it's like, and as you said it pretty well, like I don't like Yuri, but I chuckle at the things he says.
Yes.
It's a character that you're looking at as very like indifferent, and he's completely devoid of humanity at many points, and but that's the point, and I think it kind of shows how awful this business is. But it's done, but we're so used to seeing the hero's journey in movies, and Nicolas Cage being someone who is a hero, and this was definitely not that role, but he plays it so well. The script is written for him explicitly, and it shows. And it's a really, really good movie. Recommend it to anyone who's looking for something a little bit different in his catalog. It's definitely, I hold it probably a little bit higher than most, but I think it's fair to say it's one of his better movies in general. Even though he does pretty much anything that comes across his desk. But yeah, no, great movie. Thank you for letting me talk about this with you.
of course.
great.
Of
Well, thank you
course.
for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Again, plug your wares, my good sir. Of course, all the where to find you is in the description down below, guys.
Yeah.
Go give Shags another sub so he can be way above me, not just close to me.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to come over to my channel, sub, if you like long format discussions. I do a panel show every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time, where we talk about pop culture, cinema, video games, all this. We just talk about everything and laugh and make fun of things and people. And then usually on Monday or Thursday evenings, I have a one-on-one interview with someone I admire, someone I look up to, or just someone who I'm trying to get more information from. Like I said, recently I talked to Ethan Van Sciver. I've talked to Vito. I've talked to
Greg was
Stuttering Craig was last week. That was
I have it bookmarked. I don't have time.
Yeah, no, the Stuttering Craig one was really, really great. He's doing a lot of great stuff. I'm trying to get conversations like that range from about an hour to 2 hours. And then I do my own solo show on Tuesday nights starting at 9 p.m. Mountain Time, where I talk about just pop culture stuff on my own. Nobody really joins me, and just trying to have fun. That's kind of the core of my channel, is just to have fun and talk about things that I really like, and people seem to be enjoying it. So onwards and upwards. And yeah, I'm on Rumble, I'm on Twitter, YouTube. Come follow me.
Of course. And for us, ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to next month. And next month is going to be a little bit tricky because I'm going to be away, but not really, because the content train is going to still be on the track. We have, I'm away on vacation. I will not be here for most of April. But I have pre-recorded a few shows for you to enjoy. So every single week you're going to have a show. But there is still one live show to do. And next week we're going to be joined by Jay Farang with Sean Connery's last Bond movie.
Ooh. Nice.
Go watch that. Oh, wait. Before we leave, Chilean. Nicolas Cage is Lizzo in the upcoming biopic that ends with her alleged retirement.
I kind of see it.
If someone can do it, Cage can do it.
Cage can do it.
The only thing I can think of is he going to be Nicolas Cage, him, as he sees himself as Lizzo and everybody else sees him as Nicolas Cage, or are we gonna see Nicolas Cage in blackface? Take your pick. Anyone?
No. See, that would be Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis would do that because he'd go full method.
Oh,
You know he would.
Oh man.
Full method. Guys out there, I hope you enjoyed the show. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share this around. There are 140 something, I don't even know the number, 140 something episodes, and we might have already covered the movie you liked. So go back ahead. I promise that we do a worse job in the past because it took us a while to get this rhythm going, but all the stuff we talked about are still valid. I went back a few episodes around. I went back to the Pulp Fiction episode. I went back to the Blade episode. I even went back to the Beetlejuice episode. We're not in the same groove, but everything we talked about is still valid until today. So if you do want to go back, there's a full-on playlist of the show. Find yourself something you like, one of those movies you more into, go ahead and watch that. And until next week, ladies and gentlemen, remember, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. We'll see you next week. You're still here? It's over.